Hello. Great to see you today. I am Robin Klein of Klein and Company Travel Consulting. I'm glad to have you here today. We have a great guest. I'm very, very excited about this. And I want to remind you, as always, to please sign up to become a Klein and Company Insider at the address you see going across the bottom there. I provide a free sample itinerary when you sign up and change that every quarter. And we may even have a little special something at the end here. We'll see what we can do. Additionally, please ask questions as we go along. Type them in the questions box, and we will answer them for you as we can during the conversation. And so, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Alina Friedman of Strelka Tours in Russia. And this is especially exciting to me because I have always wanted to go to Russia, and she is going to tell us how to do that in the best way possible. So here we go. All right.
Hi, Robin.
There you are. Okay, great. Yes. Hi, Alina. How are you?
Hi, all is well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for hosting me, for having me this night. No, that's actually afternoon, right?
Yeah, well, here it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but obviously it's night there. So you look lovely. I love your necklace.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful. So tell us a little bit just about yourself. Obviously, you were born and raised in Moscow, correct?
Not really. Well,
okay.
It's like the second half of my life that I've been living here.
Okay.
I came here for a second degree, but my first degree I got in Siberia. So deep into the woods. let's
I see.
call it this way.
Yeah.
I was born in the capital of Siberia, and where I got the school education, and I started my first education, and then I moved here to Moscow to continue my international relations research, and I was graded eventually here. And back at that time, I had no idea I would be doing travel packages and be so inspired about it.
Yeah. And so how did you make that transition? Tell me, how did you get into travel from what you were doing with music and international relations?
Well, music has always been a pleasure. Well, once I quit the music school, it became a real pleasure to just listen and create some pieces of music. I think the first time I actually thought that I might be doing something on my own was when I was getting the first degree, and my friends and I, we started an affiliate of international student associations. We were basically dealing with international traineeship, not just fun and beer after classes, right? So I gained a pretty interesting international experience of sending Russian students to work abroad, mainly Europe, and we received European students to work in Russia, which was absolutely amazing. So we had to sign contracts and we had to pick the right students. It was an amazing job. It's like a global HR project with all the multicultural experiences and backgrounds. So that's where I probably felt the flavor of it.
I see. Interesting.
Yeah, probably that helped a lot.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, let's proceed on and look at some of these amazing pictures that you have given me to show. And I'm going to, let's hide that one for now. And I'm going to switch this screen so that you are not seeing me, and I will just ask you questions kind of about these as we go along. So I just wanted to put that up there to begin with. Obviously, it's just beautiful. And you said it was from a church door, I think.
Yeah. Well, we've got a lot of it. This door is from Moscow. So once you think about tours in Russia, you probably start thinking about St. Petersburg because it's so easy to get into with a cruise ship, for example. And you get there without any visas, and you would probably imagine the royal history and the beautiful palaces. But if you think about Moscow, Well, all the time borders are slightly vague here, so you would see an architectural piece of 17th century, and just the next door it would be 21st century building, which is interesting. Everything coexists here. So that rare things you could see definitely in Moscow. We have a lot of churches. We have a lot of uh, just. Just buildings dated back to 17th century. Some of them are museums, some are used for commercial purposes, but it's still very exciting. And people who own these houses and who manage them, they definitely are trying to preserve this culture as much as they could. So look at this wonderful handle. You can imagine how heavy it is and
Yeah.
how much energy you would need to open
Yes.
this door.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
open these doors easily for you guys.
Yes. I love that. That's great. So, okay, so now I've switched over to this picture of the outside, the front of the Bolshoi, which obviously is just world famous, renowned, and beautiful. So, tell us a little bit, because the other day you were telling me, I didn't realize that I just always thought of it as a ballet, but that it also has concerts and music and so forth.
Yeah, well, this Bolshoi Theater is used both for operas, ballets, and even some symphonic orchestra
Mhm.
concerts. So anything is good. I'm sure that some rich people could rent it. Well, I was actually invited once. I believe a couple of years ago, I was invited. Well, my husband was invited. It was a corporate party of some big corporation, so they had the Bolshoi Theater for themselves. That's how you can use it also. I mean, if you bring a bunch of people, I would say 1,000, you want something special, we can definitely close the theater and make
Oh, wow.
an interesting event inside. No, I'm joking. So you can definitely explore the theater just on a normal show. There is also a backstage tour, which is also interesting. But well, the building was rebuilt. I can't say it was rebuilt. It was renovated from the inside. They
Mhm.
also added the new stage, which was obviously seen on the previous image. And also they added an underground hall for some smaller concerts and maybe a parking lot. I might be wrong,
Oh,
but
wow.
yeah, they've expanded this space, this music space. So much that you have so many different opportunities right now. So it's not just the Swan Lake that you or the Nutcracker in winter, which is obviously something to come here for because the Nutcracker, but the Bolshoi would be something I even imagine. I still don't get a chance to be there because I always leave at around this time, so I never get to see it.
Oh,
Yes, it's
wow.
funny. I've seen it in Miami and everywhere else in the world, not in
Yeah,
Moscow.
that's funny. That's funny. Well, speaking of Christmas time, I don't know if this one is taken at Christmas or not. We do have a picture later of Moscow at Christmas, but are the lights that we're seeing here in front of St. Basil's, are these Christmas or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a winter decoration. So
Okay.
well, again, when I travel, especially in Europe, they take down all the decorations right after Christmas, right? But they begin to assemble it sometimes in November. Well, here in Russia, first of all, we celebrate New Year. So the biggest event here is the New Year. Then comes the Christmas, which is celebrated on 7th of January. So you can imagine this, all these decorations will be here. Well, this year is something, sorry to switch to another thing. This year is a COVID year, obviously. We
Yes.
continue this unfortunate history of COVID time. But anyway, we still have this Christmas decorations on, believe it or not. I'm so surprised to still see them because they light the city that make, well, the city is beautiful even without it, but you can imagine how wonderful it is with this
Yeah.
decoration. So yes, that was a
Oh,
Christmas one.
yes. Well, and this one is okay. So I put this picture in this order because this was the
Hmm.
inside of St. Basil's. Obviously,
Yeah,
this is not at the same time of year because of the way she is dressed, but
yeah.
still. But tell us about the frescoes here on the walls. They're beautiful.
Yeah, well, these are the traditional patterns that well, this building was built so many centuries ago that you can afford having any kind of frescoes, right? Well, the architects were Russians, and they were actually blinded soon after they finished the work. Well, that's really cruel, but well, at least that Tsar made sure that no one else has this kind of beauty around,
Oh.
near the
Oh,
palace. Well, it's
so they
dark
blinded
times.
so they
Yeah.
blinded them
They were blind.
on purpose so
Yeah.
that nobody else could have the same art.
Yeah, that's the saddest
Wow.
story about this
Oh
cathedral.
my
But
gosh.
yeah, but anyway, actually, the tricky thing is to identify how many churches, how many chapels there are inside. Actually, you can count by the number of domes if you just look
Ah.
at it from
Yeah,
outside.
I can go back to that one. Yeah, so those are each a chapel
Yeah,
inside.
it's a chapel, and
Ah,
they are
okay.
pretty tiny. So once
Okay.
you're there, it's actually, well, you want to avoid crowds, right? So
Yeah.
we would definitely
Nice.
recommend to come probably at the end or early in the morning so that it will be empty. So
Right.
yeah, it's a very special place, and they actually have a choir singing there, and you can imagine the acoustics. So you hear three male voices, and the voices go up there somewhere. It's absolutely divine to sit down and
Wow.
hear a little sample of this choir.
Mm. This looks beautiful too. So this looks like fun. Everybody enjoys Christmas in Moscow, obviously.
Yeah. Well, the Christmas markets are on also until late February. So we love
Really?
parties. Yes, I
Ah,
know
that's
it
great.
sounds ridiculous, but
No, I
we
love
have
it.
it. Me too. Well, actually, 2 years ago, I remember we came from some warm place, and we were afraid that they will take down all the decorations and this wonderful marketplace, market square. But everything was on until late February, and you could go shopping. You could. Well, I like this porcelain, so they actually have little kiosks selling different porcelains,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also food shopping because you would buy sweets, you would buy crepes with chocolate and everything. So that's kind of copy
Mm.
from European markets. But actually, this is the Red Square Market, and it's the biggest one. And you can imagine.
Okay.
So it looks massive, but it occupies, I would say, three quarters. No, not three quarters. I would say. 2/3 of the Red Square. So Red Square
I
is really
see.
gigantic, and
Yeah.
that massive thing is still not the end of it. And actually,
Wow.
around town, around the central area, we have a lot of other smaller Christmas markets which devote to different topics. Like this one is devoted to Germany, that one is devoted to Prague. So they sell
Ah, interesting.
goods and food related to this country.
Wow.
That's
Oh, well, that's
that's a great thing to
interesting.
explore.
Yeah, and then we could come back in the summer after we do the Christmas, then we could come back in the summer.
Yes, yes. Well, the only difference is this is a flower festival. So
Hmm.
this little street, it's an old street. It's outside the Red Square. So some of the pedestrian streets here in the center of Moscow are decorated this way all year round. It's just they add something else for Christmas, and then they take it down, and then they leave all these decorations for the summer, and then they bring these flowers. So it's really a nice place to be and to walk, and you have little shops, cafes. So it's you come there, you think that you will just come to the Red Square and that's it, but no, you get stuck there just because there are so many little shops. So you want to have a little, I don't know, snack or a cookie with tea or with coffee, and you just sit, relax, enjoy, and oh my god, it's time to go.
Ah, it
So
sounds
you
great. It
come
sounds
browse.
great. And so this is also an area, well, this is the shopping area. So yes, if you're a big
Hmm.
shopper, this is where you would want to go, correct?
Yeah. Well, that area is also not so ancient, but it's probably dated back to 19th century. Well, it's called the Tretyakov Drive, same as Tretyakov Gallery, so it's the same family. So well, one of the sons, he had a shop on the street that you just demonstrated on the previous slide, and the problem was that the carriages had to go around the whole massive area to get to his shop. So he negotiated with the governor that they need a straight path. So he coordinated this. They made a path. They built this wonderful arch, which actually it's called this architectural style is called Russian Revival. So he made this fanciest path towards his shop, and now you have, well, it's like a rodeo drive, but it's a very small one. So it's a pedestrian area with lots of high-end boutiques, and then you make a right turn, and then you find yourself on the previous street, and you still keep going and shopping and enjoying.
Oh, beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. And then, of course, there's the river that runs right through Moscow, and
Hmm.
now, so do you consider? I know in some European cities, especially, different sides of the river are like different districts, or almost
Hmm.
like different cities. Is it like that in Moscow or not?
I wouldn't say so. So Moscow, from the architectural point of view, is very eclectic. So just looking at this, you can see the Stalin skyscraper, which reminds you of New York, probably. Yes, they were copied from New
Mm-hmm.
York. We used to have seven. We call them seven Stalin sisters, because they're all very much alike. So this one you're looking at is a Radisson Hotel. Right now, it used to be a hotel from the beginning. So it's just a beautiful surrounding. It's a beautiful architecture, and you can see all possible styles. You can see the White House. We also have a White House, but unlike the U.S., it's the place where the government sits. So on the
I
right hand
see.
side, you can see like a cookie, like a waffle building. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So all this style, the yellowish building, are dated back to Stalin's time. They are actually called the Stalin Empire style,
Oh,
because
I see.
he wanted some, well, he wanted to mark his period of reign, so-called
Sure.
reign, with these
Sure.
massive buildings.
Yes, yes.
And
And then so
so
this is
sorry,
beautiful.
that view is from a wonderful restaurant, so you can actually enjoy food and do the sightseeing, and all the perspective will be just in front of you.
Oh, wow. Yeah, from where we were looking out on the city was from a
Yeah,
restaurant. I see.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then here, so here we're looking, this is the hotel, is that right? Is this the
Yeah, it's
Metropole?
the
Is that right?
Metropole Hotel, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So this is their famous hall where, well, you might have read about this hotel in the book, The Gentleman in Moscow. Well, the
Uh-huh.
situation is absolutely fantastic, which is described there. So I would never believe that. But the hotel survived everything, and it's an interesting place. So it used to be a hotel from the beginning. Then after the revolution, they turned it into a business center. Can you imagine? All these rooms were turned
Oh
out
my
into
gosh.
offices. And actually, a few embassies used to have an office there. And the first Israeli
Oh.
embassy, and the Golda Meir, as the first ambassador, Israeli ambassador to the USSR, had an office there. And so many interesting people were having offices there. So now it's back to the hotel. They used to have like half of their fund was historic, with historic furniture, with historic decorations. Now they are undergoing a massive renovation. So right now the new rooms are pretty modern, but very fancy, really, really nice. And they decided to keep just a little number of rooms facing the Bolshoi Theater. Well, this hotel has a great location, because,
Mm-hmm.
well, it's a walking distance from everything you could think about at the center.
Wow.
And well, this is the breakfast restaurant, and that's where they
Oh,
host
sorry,
their.
I
Yeah, yeah,
switched the
yeah,
slide here.
yeah, yeah, no
No,
problem.
so that was from the breakfast. So you would be sitting there having breakfast, and this would be
Yeah,
your
and
view.
brunches as well. So they
Oh,
host wonderful
nice.
brunches over the
Yeah,
weekend.
beautiful, beautiful. And so, yes, so this picture you labeled Jewish heritage. So
Hmm.
tell us just a bit about, so people that were really interested in history can come and maybe find out about their own heritage, even.
Yeah, that's right. So after the revolution, Jews, I would say the Jewish community and society was flourishing here in Moscow and there in St. Petersburg. So there's a lot of things to do for Jewish reasons. We have a lot of clients who really want to explore Moscow and St. Petersburg from this side. It's not just visiting the synagogue. We have lots of museums. The Jewish life in Moscow right now is very vibrant, with lots of events happening. Well, this particular photograph is taken at the archive. It's actually the big so-called Lenin's library, where they host just a great number of rare books, including two rare book collections, two Jewish collections. So this book is from the Ginsburg collection, the very much sought after collection in Israel and in the US. We keep that very carefully. So you can see the curator is wearing gloves, because these are very rare examples, so
Yes.
they're treated with an exceptional respect. And well, just to go there, you have to apply, you have to wait, and there you go. You can explore this wonderful rare
Wow.
books.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
incredible. And so now we've moved on to, now this is in St. Petersburg, is that correct? Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, yeah,
we're
yeah.
switching cities now. Now we're on our way
Yeah.
to St. Petersburg. Okay.
Yeah, well, this cafe is actually facing the Kazan Cathedral, which is beautiful by itself, and the table that I was having tea at, this is also a historic place. So St. Petersburg is also very eclectic. If you look around, you don't see just palaces, but palaces are all around. There are some commercial buildings. Well, this particular building is in the Art Nouveau style, which is very popular here in Moscow. But the St. Petersburg's Art Nouveau style is slightly different. So once you're a fan of architecture, you definitely have a lot to explore. And here, it's a store downstairs, so you can buy a book, have tea, and just relax and enjoy. St. Petersburg
Oh,
is a much
nice.
slower city compared to Moscow. It's
Yes.
it's like New York and I don't know any other city in America.
Right.
So New
Right.
York is running, and everyone else just
Yes.
knows how to do it otherwise.
I get that. Yeah. So this is in St. Petersburg too. So what are we looking at here?
Well, we're looking at the Pavel Palace, which is slightly less advertised among foreigners. Well, people tend to go to the Catherine's Palace because it's so very well advertised. But I must say that Catherine's Palace, well, I like it. It's all polished, shiny, it's lavish. It's as if someone is living there, but no, it's a museum. And well, they have lots of very long lines, and it's a bit problematic to get there. Well,
Hmm.
this palace is just 10 minutes drive from that Catherine's Palace, but it's authentic. So there is nothing new there. It's all it's kept in a very well condition, but it's authentic. They have authentic furniture. They didn't change much. And strange, but it survived the revolution, the wars. So you remember that St. Petersburg was sieged for 900 days during the Second World War,
Yes.
and
Yes.
just by it's magic that they didn't burn it because people needed to eat, they needed to warm up, so a lot
Hmm.
of rare books and rare furniture was burned. But this palace survived. There are quite a lot of palaces which survived, and I'll be glad to share more about it
Oh
next.
yeah, yeah. And then and so this is obviously a church. Is this yep. I don't know if this is in St. Petersburg too, correct?
Exactly, it's
Okay.
probably
Yep.
the landmark of the city. Well,
Okay.
this the highest spire
Oh,
belongs
okay.
to
Okay.
the Peter and Paul Cathedral, which is part of the Peter and Paul Fortress complex.
Hmm.
It used to be the cathedral, a prison, and lots of other interesting buildings. So once you're there, it's interesting to explore. There's some artifacts of Peter the Great, the Russian Tsar, who actually opened the window to Europe by building this wonderful city on the banks of Neva River. So this is probably something you would start with when you explore St.
I
Petersburg,
see.
just no matter how you come, by plane or by ship. And yeah, well,
Or
this is
speaking of ships, well,
ships,
it's a
exactly.
small
It's
one, but
right on time, exactly. Well, that's actually me.
yeah.
My family and I, well, since borders were closed, so we went to St. Petersburg just for pleasure. And we rented a boat and we enjoyed it on our own.
Yeah,
So
just had a
it's a
nice.
must have, to be honest. When you think about the aristocratic experiences in town, you would
Hmm.
definitely want to have one. You can hop on a regular boat, but
Hmm.
once you have one for yourself, we could be accompanied with a glass of champagne and a guide who would be just pointing and explaining where is what. So St. Petersburg is actually great to be explored from the water first because you get an overview. You don't stuck in the jam, so it's all smooth and nice. Well, hopefully the weather is as sunny, as warm as it
Right.
is here. Well,
Right.
you can never predict the weather in St. Petersburg, but
Yeah.
that never
Yeah.
stops tourists to
Right.
jump on a boat and do
Well,
the
if the
tour.
weather if the weather stops you from exploring, then you're not much of an explorer because we never know that.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
look at this. This is fantastic. How beautiful.
Exactly. Well, this is part of Hermitage, the Winter
Yeah.
Palace. So
Okay.
once you get to Winter Palace, you will probably see the tip of the iceberg because
Mm.
well, it's never enough to explore the whole rooms. And well, since this year they actually made a few itineraries. Just because to avoid crowds, I hope they will continue this story. next, which is actually helpful. So once you want to tick the box, and just to show everyone, I've been to the Winter Palace, you will do it just on any itinerary. Well, our guide brought us to this wonderful gallery. It's a replica of I think it's in Rome. The original one is in Rome, obviously in
I
Vatican.
see.
So
Okay.
it's not the original, but this is replica. But it's so fantastic. So you walk down this
Amazing.
corridor and you don't want to leave.
Oh my gosh. Yes. It looks like you could just spend forever there. And look at this. This is
Yeah.
just
Well, this is the
unbelievable.
main staircase. One
Okay.
itinerary actually begins with the staircase, and another one ends with the staircase. So
I see.
anyway, you will see it. It's actually it's a rare thing that this staircase is empty. This is my own photograph. And we've been there during the pandemic. And actually, it was the third day that St. Petersburg government opened the museums to the public. So we knowing that, we actually booked all our tickets and hotels and finally booked slots at the museum. And we went there and we were one of the few guests. I mean, well,
Wow.
the palace is big, yes, obviously.
Yes. Yeah.
But they allow people by portions, so it was not crowded
Yes.
at all.
Yes. What
Which
a
will never
luxury.
happen again, I assure you.
Right. Yes. What a
Definitely.
luxury to see it
Yeah.
like that. Yes. Yes. So
Palace
uncrowded.
for
And then,
yourself.
yeah. And then just, I thought that I'd end with another picture of some doors
Hmm.
before we move on to food and the culinary
Yeah.
scene. So,
Hmm.
so let me just switch
So
that.
these are the doors to the old English court. So the first
Okay.
embassy we had in Russia back in 16th century was the
Mm-hmm.
English one. So the
Mm-hmm.
English, someone actually by chance appeared to be in the waters of Moscow. So the Russians gave him a very warm welcome, and there the history of the two countries' relationship begins. So that was the old chambers of the first British embassy here in Moscow, and it's a really nice building. I remember we had a tour just with our friends. It was on a day off. We managed to open the doors. The electricity was off. I don't know what happened, but we were given candles and we were exploring the 16th century mansions just with a candle in our hands.
Oh,
So you can
wow.
imagine, yes, how stressed / excited we were, because the
Yes.
corridors were narrow, the paths were uneven, and it was incredible. So I would definitely
Uh,
recommend visiting one of those
I
once you are in
bet.
Russia.
I bet. Okay, so we're going to talk about the food scene, which is always one of the most important things to me. I absolutely love to sample food in different places, and I think that may be one of the ways that we originally got connected. Was I saw some of your posts showing all the amazing food and everything, and so I want to hear about this restaurant, and then we'll go on to some other pictures.
Yeah, so this is exactly the restaurant that we've seen the perspective from on the previous slide. You remember this eclectic
Right, of the
cityscape?
river. Yes,
Yeah, and
yeah,
the
from the
river is
river. Okay.
flowing just down. So this is exactly this restaurant. It has, you see, it has on one part it has two floors. So the other part faces the one of the Stalin skyscrapers, and it's the Ministry of Foreign Relations. And you can see some domes of the Kremlin. And actually, this is a 360 view restaurant, so you can explore the city center and even the more far corners of town, just sitting and eating and just looking around, which is beautiful. Well, this
Oh,
particular
wow.
restaurant, yes, it offers seafood. It's called Sakhalin. Sakhalin is the faraway corner of a country with 10 hours flight from Moscow. So I mean, the country is big, and they're proud to serve homegrown food here. So the crabs and the fish from Sakhalin is still
I see.
locally
Okay.
produced, so they actually deliver it here. And the crabs from
Ah,
Sakhalin are amazing. So the
oh,
accent
God.
here is made on seafood.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
it
that
sounds. Yeah, so this is really special, and I remember seeing this post in your Facebook feed, and yeah, so anybody that looks at this would think this was well. Anyway, you tell us. You tell us.
yeah. So well, this is in St. Petersburg. This restaurant is called Coco Couture. well, this restaurant normally suggests set menus. So whenever you want to connect with the culture through food and you don't want to choose much, don't want to study much, just go to this restaurant, this or the other one, which suggests set menu, and you'll just get into the culture through food immediately. So this was a 10-course dinner, and you won't feel you won't feel that you've overeaten. No, because
Mm-hmm.
like most of the dishes are one bite size, so you
Right.
just swallow it and you have a pleasant taste in your mouth, but you don't feel a heavy feeling in your stomach.
Yes. Yes.
So, well, this particular starter is called the Fabergé egg. This is black caviar with a little bit of gold, all put in a shell of white chocolate.
Oh,
And
wow.
they actually close it, so they bring it to you as a Fabergé egg, so you don't know what to expect. So this restaurant is like a theatrical performance. So every
Uh,
dish is unique, and it's like they're trying to deceive you on every corner. So they bring you this, you open, and sometimes until you taste, you don't even understand what you're
yeah.
going to eat. Either
Oh,
it's a dessert
nice.
or it's something savory. You don't know. So it's a
Mm.
bit of surprise.
Beautiful,
Mm.
beautiful. That's amazing. And then this, so yeah, tell us, this is really interesting too.
Well, this is their previous set collection of the dishes of the set menu. Sorry, it sounds clumsy, but anyway, this, well, many people think it's a dessert. I also
Yes.
thought so, but actually
Yes.
it's a salmon salad in a beetroot cone, something like that. So it's kind of a
Wow.
molecular cuisine.
Yeah.
Yeah, just by these leaves on top, you can decide that it's a savory dish, and it is indeed.
Oh,
And the plate for it is actually a hand, so they've
the
got
hand.
plenty of hands, so wherever you look you
The-
have see these hands holding the cone.
That's
So
so original. I love
yeah,
it.
even
I
even
love
the
it.
dishes match the food perfectly, so that's how
Oh, beautiful.
well
Beautiful.
considered
Well,
this
and
presentation is.
then here we have some other desserts.
And again, deceiving your own taste buds. It's, well, it's not an apple. It's a dessert in the shape of an apple, but it's,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very popular mousse kind of dessert with little pieces of apples inside, but on top of it, it's, well, you just eat a mousse. And it's not so very appleish. When you taste it, it could be anything.
Oh, it's beautiful. Well, and the food just, I mean, I just love that. When I go to a different country, I always love to sample the fare of the country and find out about it and learn about it. And it just looks like the culinary scene is as rich as the history and the music and the art. There's just so much to see and do in Russia. I can't imagine where you even begin.
I know, so that's why we're here for. We can
Right.
actually, just by getting to know the interests of our future
Exactly.
visitors, we get to know them better, and we just stuff the program with all possible interesting things that they will remember when they leave.
Well, and that's why it's important that people like you and me work together. Because if I have clients here in the United States and they say, "I want to go to Russia and I want to, go to the opera, I want to go to the Bolshoi, I want to have great food, I want to do," so it's wonderful that I have a relationship with somebody like you, and I can call you, and I know my clients, and you know Russia, and we put that all together, and everybody's happy. So it's a great relationship to have, and I'm so grateful that we've met each other and been able to talk about this. It's just it makes me want to get on a plane and come to Russia right now.
It's amazing. Likewise, Robin. So it's very interesting that you asked this question, because well, many people could probably think of a package, but everything's packed for them. They don't want to think, but when they come to a place, they see so many different things that they miss. So it's actually, it's a shame to miss it. You want to have
Yes.
everything booked. So I would definitely suggest to have all the dinners and lunches booked, just because
Yes.
otherwise you will miss the chance to have this flavor of the country through food.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the other thing is that, and there's nothing wrong with doing a tour. A lot of people like to do a tour with a group. There's nothing wrong with it. But when that isn't the way you want to do things, and you want that personalized touch, and you want to be able to spend however much time you want in a place and not be on a strict timetable, it's very nice to have somebody like you that can do all that. So
Thank you.
it's great. Yeah. So it's great. Well, this has been so wonderful. Thank you so much for being with me today, and just excited to know you, and hopefully we'll get to plan some trips to Russia for some clients here soon.
I hope so too. We are really
Yeah.
ready. So the country is
Yeah.
getting vaccinated, especially Moscow and St. Petersburg. For the first time travelers, it's obviously good to visit both capitals. We call them capitals because St. Petersburg used to be a capital before the revolution. And well, we would obviously suggest to do something beyond the traditional itinerary, which is visiting the palaces, visiting Kremlin. That could be a small concert at the palace. So you will get the
Yes.
flavor of Russian aristocracy through that. So it's not just the private boat trip around the canals, but then you could have this fancy lunch, and then you can enjoy music almost in private in a
Yes.
fantastic mansion which survived all this
Well,
time
it
conditions.
sounds absolutely wonderful. So now I'm going to ask you a question that'll put you a little bit on the spot here. I didn't ask you ahead of time. So would you be willing to work with me on just a sample itinerary, just something fun that we could give away to some of our watchers today, some of our viewers, if they wanted to just something general. It doesn't have to be, but just something that might make people dream of coming to Russia for a visit.
Yeah, well, definitely. So would you like me to throw a little plan?
Yeah. Well, let's do this. So whoever's watching and has seen this today, if you want to send an email to me at robin@kleinandcotravel.com, you see it going across the bottom. Well, you don't see the Robin at, but send it to robin@kleinandcotravel.com and just put Russia in the comments section. I will make sure that you get that via email. So that'll be fun.
Yeah,
Okay,
that sounds
good.
fantastic.
Oh, good. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap things up here, and I'm going to take you off the screen now while I do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Well, that was great. I don't know about you, but I am dying to go to Russia. I always have been. It's definitely on my bucket list. And if you're interested, sign up to become a Klein and Company Insider on my website, and join me next week. Thank you.